to begin.
Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Social Primate Podcast. First and foremost, it's been a minute since I did one of these introductions. I've just been testing different things out, kind of experimenting. But for this particular episode, due to the nature of it, it was a necessity for me to jump on and kind of explain some of the details on this, just for the sake of understanding what went behind the scenes. So, the day of the recording, everything went smoothly. We had a great session. We had a great conversation. And it wasn't until the next day that I realized that the episode only recorded halfway. So that was kind of lost, unfortunately. Not a big deal. Every now and then you have to work around these things. It's mistakes that happen. Kind of had to adapt and make the best of it. And just kind of see where you're going to go from there, right? Eventually things work out. In this case, things definitely worked out. The conversation still very, at least from my opinion, very much captured the essence of Silvandgold as an artist and as an individual. So, we agreed, okay, you know what? Let's release this episode. Let's make it happen. And we're making it happen. Now that you know that, be prepared for the sudden just kind of end of the episode. We got up to at least 30 minutes, I want to say, out of the 50 or so. So if you guys do want to catch some of that, the rest of that conversation, I believe Silvandgold was recording that on the live stream. Go check it out if you want to finish the conversation. I don't know how long that video is going to be up there, but once it's gone, it's gone. So if you enjoyed this part of the conversation, feel free to stop by on her page on Instagram, check out the live stream, and kind of go from there. Otherwise, you're lost. So go. With that being said, today's music is brought to you by Silvandgold with her newest release, Save Myself. Go check it out, go stream it, go support, and we'll see you guys next week.
Check. Look. See, I'm my own worst enemy and my own savior. My own hype woman and my own toxic behaviors. Do me no favors, especially if you just keeping count. I cannot stand the ones that help so they could take me out. Messages turn delicate, topics of discussions turn irrelevant. They go in for the kill, say they love me and I'm everything but. I dodge death and run, duck the thirsty bums. Lift myself up from my black and gray Jordan ones.
Because I've been trying to be organized.
That's great.
Just little things have been kind of changed.
It's important to be organized. Are you kidding me? I have like a notebook that I write everything down in.
That gets it done. Hey, I mean, you stay pretty consistent with your work, so I'm just gonna say straight up.
It's so much work. It's so stressful.
Do you feel like you ever get like
tired? Yeah.
Just mentally drained?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fuck. What do you do to disconnect?
I find it very easy to disconnect. Actually, it's not hard for me.
That's fucking good.
I just like do whatever I want.
Yeah, anything that just makes you feel.
I go eat. I spend time with my family. Yeah. I turn my phone off. I watch movies. Mm-hmm. I work. Yeah, I just.
Okay.
I don't give a shit.
I like that. No, because sometimes people get just wrapped up into the thing, like I'm a victim to that. Like I was a victim to that a few days ago where I was like, fuck, nah. I felt, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I know everybody's different. But sometimes you just fall into these holes of it, like, oh fuck, man. Like it gets a little overwhelming.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you're just like, oh, I just want to lay down and just close my eyes for a bit, and just close off from everything. But
I took a nap today too. Actually, I had to.
Yeah.
I was so tired.
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm in my 30s now, so I'm like consistently trying to take a nap. Like no lie, no lie. At least every day, I was taking naps right after work. I'll get home, fall asleep for like an hour, just chill, get up and just do whatever work I had to do. And now it's like really rare when I nap, and not because I can't, but it's just I'm so busy. Like fuck, like when I get to sleep in the night, it feels great. Like it's just like.
Yep,
but
I feel you.
It's one of the best things you can do.
Yeah.
With that being said, today we got Silvandgold.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you for coming out.
No, thank you for having me.
I want to make a mention that I was just looking up the last time that you were on the podcast, and that was it was 3 years ago for sure.
Wow.
And it was a month before the pandemic hit. So like,
are you serious?
Yeah, it was in February something 2020.
Wow.
So I remember just talking to you then. I think at that point you had just finished Gabby Guerrero.
I dropped it in November 2019.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, so you were kind of like on the high off of that, and then the pandemic just just kind of shut shit down, you know?
I can't even believe that.
Yeah, so, you know, now 3 years later and you're here, you at this point, you've dropped, what, 3 albums?
Well, I dropped a second one, which is the Avant-Garde album. And right now I am finished with the third one.
Oh, okay, the one that you're dropping in June, right?
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Well, that's a lot of progress, a lot of music.
I can't believe it's been so long. Wow, since 2020, huh?
Yeah, since 2020. Yeah, it feels like, now I think about it, I was still a little, I felt like a baby. I was just 30 then. I'm 33 now. I'm just like, man, I feel much wiser now, you know?
Yep.
Supposedly.
That's how life is. It makes you wiser with trouble and stress.
And stress, yeah. I think that's the biggest. I was listening to this thing recently that, you know, without pain, there's no like growth per se, you know? And it's like, damn, that's a sad way to see it because you have to go through the hard stuff in order to, you know, feel like, oh, shit.
Well, I mean, you have 2 options at that point, right? Like things happen in life and then you can either like sulk in it and do nothing and just kind of allow it to hurt you. Or you can just sort of like, okay, take it in and then make a decision that you're going to change it if you can, you know, while at the same time understanding that you can't control everything. Yeah. Right. So whatever you have control over, you should try to change it. If you don't have control over something, there's no use stressing about it.
Yeah, it's a great way to see it. And like I've been recently, this is gonna sound weird, maybe, you know, because I'm gonna bring it back to AI now. But you're asking these questions that are questions that I personally have sometimes. Like, okay, like analyze and figure out what is causing this thing in you, right? But sometimes the question is like, how do you know if that's the thing? You know, like people tell you like set goals, set this, you know, but then you're like, man, I need an example of a goal. Like, what's a realistic goal that I can visualize myself to kind of get me where I need to be to? And right now you kind of just bringing that up kind of reminds me of the whole idea that sometimes you're given information, but it's up to you to decipher how that information gets processed by you and how you apply it to your fucking journey, right?
That's very interesting.
But yeah, that's and I'm not gonna lie to you. So bringing the whole AI into consideration here, I typed in like, okay, so give me a set of or steps, right?
What site did you use?
This is ChatGPT.
Okay, ChatGPT. Yes, I've heard of it. So you asked a question, and what was the question you asked again?
So this is where it's gonna get interesting. So I was listening to your most recent song, "Save Myself."
Save Myself. Yeah.
So,
I figured because you were like talking about it. I'm like, oh, it sounds very familiar.
Yeah. So this is where it gets at, and then I want to just make it clear. If this sounds like I was cheating, it's not. But it's another form. I'm gonna get into that. Why people might think that.
Okay.
But it's about adjusting things to your workflow, right? So I went to AI, to ChatGPT, and I was like, hey, I want you to take Silvandgold's lyrics, analyze them, and it kind of breaks you down what the content is about, right?
Wow, you did that?
I did that because I was genuinely curious. Okay, like I can personally take the message that you're giving me and I can interpret it myself, right? Yes. And in itself, I think they're really powerful lyrics. And so I was like, okay, well, let's see what AI thinks about the essence of this.
What did AI say about the lyrics?
So I'm gonna go to the first paragraph it gave me, and it's kind of long, so I asked it to give it shorter. How many paragraphs was it? It goes, let me find out right now. Okay, so I'm gonna give you one sentence that it gave me. It says, Silvandgold's music is deeply rooted in storytelling, allowing her to express her personal experiences and observations about the world. Through her music, she connects with her audience by sharing relatable stories. So that's AI being like, hey, this is Silvandgold's music. And I was like, okay, like I like that essence, you know? And then I took that and I was like, okay, I want to build on that.
Wow.
And that's where my own mind comes in. I'm like, okay, how can I fucking, you know, take the layers off of this and build a real human connection with the assistance of AI telling me like, hey, just kind of break it down and focus in on this side. So
what else did AI say about my song?
Let's see what it says.
I want to know what they thought of my song.
Okay, let's see. So I asked it, what does this mean? And I gave it the lyrics, right? And it starts with a C, I'm my own worst enemy and my own savior. And it kind of keeps going from there, right? The rest of your song.
Yeah.
And then it goes and it answers, this passage appears to be a set of lyrics from a song in which the artist is expressing their self-awareness and determination to be in control of their own destiny. They acknowledge that they can be both their own worst enemy and their own savior, and that they cannot depend on others to carry out their goals.
Oh my God.
It says the artist reflects on their past experiences and doubts, but ultimately decides to take charge of their future and pursue their own intentions. The lyrics suggest that the artist is driven by a sense of purpose and self-belief, even in the face of skepticism from others.
Oh my God.
This is a fucking robot.
Chat GPT?
Yeah, that's...
said that about my song.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really great.
It's fucking...
I need to use that website a little bit more just to ask questions.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting.
And the thing is, you can ask questions and you can build on it. Like earlier, just using the paragraph I put Silvandgold, it it's gonna be funny. It assumed that you were a male.
A male?
It assumed you were a male.
God.
So, but then I told it, hey, she's a female. And then he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then rephrased everything and replaced the he with she, you know?
Is it because of the name or because of the lyrics of the song?
I think, what did I ask in here? Let's see. I put, I'm like, provide a summary of the information you gave me with my guest, Silvandgold, hip hop artist and creative. And then it goes, oh, that's when it tells me like, oh yeah, his journey as an artist. And I was like, Silvandgold is female. Please update. And then it went, my apologies for the mistake in my previous response. And then it updated everything. I was like, this is a trip. This is a trip. And this is why I say like, it can easily be seen as a form of cheating, right? But it can also be a form of working on or updating your workflow. Because if it wasn't, I would have taken hours just to be like, fuck, how can I put an episode together that's interesting enough that can really like, you know, I don't know, fuck with your mind in a sense, right? So I was like, okay, let's see what this does. And that said, you know, it delved deep into what it believes that what your meaning of the song is and your perception as an artist. And I was like, okay, like
I think Chat GPT did a good job at sort of dissecting my lyrics and what the meaning was.
Yeah, it's a trip, right?
Yeah. And even the fact that I thought I was a man, I thought I was a man.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense. Hip hop artist, you know, artist. So,
yeah, right. I mean, that's
Silvandgold. Like that name doesn't have like a feminine or even a masculine.
Yeah,
it's
very
just
neutral.
a word, you know. So it makes sense. I don't think it's considered cheating.
Yeah, right. I mean, because
no,
it's a new technology that people see immediately. Like, okay, you're using it to kind of do this, like that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like when you're producing something. Like me myself, when I'm editing, I'm using filters, right, to kind of clean in the fucking high peaks in the voices and too low, amplifying it. And in a sense, that's a really basic form of AI that it's using to say, hey, fix this to fit this range based on these standards of fucking music, right? So we've been kind of using it, but at this point, it's just kind of like fucking getting bigger,
super
right?
Advanced, yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy. So that's what, you know, ChatGPT told me. I was like,
wow,
all right, cool.
I don't think it's cheating because I feel like it's a form of self-help, you know, because the same way that we buy self-help books, we read them to understand what's going on in our lives, right? We go to therapy to understand what's going on in our lives, right? Now, those things we usually have to pay for. Yeah. So I guess AI is like much faster.
Exactly.
And it's free, you know?
And it's free. Yeah, I mean, for sure, like kind of relating back to how I started bringing this AI stuff into this was like the idea that sometimes people don't know how to do certain things because, again, there's usually like a fucking paywall to get into something. Like you have to pay or subscribe or become a this. You're
absolutely right.
You want help? Pay us $20 a month or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the end of the day, what you're ultimately trying to seek is just like that self help stuff that it's going to make you kind of one up to the next level.
Yeah.
And in this case with ChatGPT, again, people are easily able to go in here and be like, hey, give me a breakdown of how I should plan my next month for social media content. And ChatGPT will give you a list of fucking monthly breakdown of like, hey, Monday through Friday, post on Instagram. Like it legit does some crazy shit. Things that will simplify your workflow and, you know, give you more time to work on the things that actually matter, right? Like the quality of content.
And some of us can't afford a social media manager.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Those people who message us and you're like, hey, we want to pay $100 for, you know, 20,000 views. Like,
yeah. Nah, you're like, I can't pay you. I can't pay social media manager. Like, so I can't pay a therapist, but ChatGPT is free.
Yeah, exactly. At least for now, right?
Yeah. But thank you for that breakdown. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, of course.
Save Myself was produced by Nappy High. He's really, really great. He's worked with Blue and with MED and with Jay Worthy and Benny the Butcher, Mick Jenkins.
Nice.
So he's very great.
Yeah.
And so to be able to work with him was so cool. And he's very professional and very talented. And that's basically what Save Myself's about, whatever ChatGPT said. Yeah, it's about you mentioned it in the beginning of the podcast. You said that somebody can give you information and it's up to you to sort of like
decipher it. Yeah,
decipher the information, and then what can you do with it, right? And that's basically what the hook is saying. Like prophecy is said over my life, and then I have an option at that point. Do I fulfill it or not, right? Because prophecy is just a fancy word for somebody saying something to you about your life or about you.
Yeah.
Right? Like if somebody walks up to you and says, you're so great, you're going to be so successful when you grow up, they're prophesying over you. Or if somebody says the opposite, even like, you're so dumb, you'll never amount to anything, like they're prophesying over you, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, you have to decide what prophecy to accept and what to reject, right? But also, once you accept it, what are you going to do with it, right? Are you going to fulfill it? Because it's not the responsibility of the person who prophesied over you to make it happen. They're just speaking from their heart, right? But it's up to you to make it happen.
Yeah, right.
To receive it for your life and then work, right?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I remember this one time this guy came up to me. He's like, "You're going to be a millionaire." And I was like, "Oh, shit, hell yeah." As of right now, it hasn't happened, but the guy's words linger there, right?
Yeah,
so.
but he prophesied over you, and you have to accept that prophecy, and then you have to do something about it.
Yeah.
Right? And it doesn't make sense to stress out over, like, what can I do? What can I do? It's like you just have to do whatever you feel you need to do, little by little, step by step.
Yeah.
You know, make these small changes. Life is fast and things happen to us all the time, but that's always our end goal, to fulfill the prophecy that was said over us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How do you think that has applied to you? Like when you started kind of fucking putting yourself in front of people? Because I know last time we talked, you mentioned that you've been kind of in front of people at a young age, so it kind of made it a little easier. But you still have to, it's not the same thing as doing it in front of because I think you used to go in front of a church, right?
Yeah, I used to do like music at church. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Compared to people actually listening to your music and just vibing with you.
My lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So at this point, it's a big difference. But like, do you feel like it's? I guess a better question is, when you started this off, like, what was that moment for you that says, "I'm just going all in"?
Well, it's funny. I the performance part is probably my least favorite part. I think we talked about it before. I don't remember if I told you, but it's not like my favorite thing to do. I think performing on stage is probably like the most stressful. Yeah. If there was some type of way for me to not have to perform on stage and still be a music artist, then I would do it. But that's that's impossible, right?
Yeah, especially nowadays. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm embracing it. I'm getting better at it, and I'm embracing it. And I know it's only going to get a little bit easier. Probably not, now that I think about it. It's never going to get easier. I had to stop myself. No, it's not going to get easier. Yeah. Right? But I think I started to do this because I love music so much, and because I wanted to do music, and because I always loved it since I was a kid, and I always thought of myself as a musical artist, even when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Like, I remember being in school, and you know how we have to do like these like assignments in class, and they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? I put a singer. Like that's what I put. Like, nice. That's what I believed. And so that's what I've always wanted to do. And at that point, it just became something that I just needed to do. Am I going to start eventually? Because I'm telling myself this and I love it so much, and I'm doing it secretly. But when am I going to actually like go to a studio, record over a beat, get it mixed and mastered, put it out, and then perform? So I had to just do it. But it's like steps, right? I wasn't thinking about the performance part. I was thinking about, first, let's find a producer to work with. Damn it.
Okay, yeah.
Right, I don't know nobody. So that's the first step. It's it's just the little things you got to
step
from the bottom.
Yeah.
And then after you find a producer, you're like, okay, well, let me write to this beat. And you write to it. Time to record it. Okay, what's next? Get it mixed and mastered. Okay, now what? Let's find a way to upload it, but we need some cover art. So it's like, it's just little by little.
Yeah, kind of as like how you go, right? Like, as like things come up.
But you have to start somewhere, and you have to do it, because if it's something that you've always wanted to do, why are you, wasting more time?
Yeah. You see, I like that. And that's unfortunately like an answer that you cannot get from fucking ChatGPT, because again, it goes back to you answered that question about, figuring out how to do these goals when you don't know where to start. But it's like you said, starting the little things. Like if you want to start music, start with looking for a producer, writing down. If you want to lose weight, just start walking every day, or something small enough to kind of get you motivated and kind of pick up steam.
Yeah, little by little, like it just starts. You have to start somewhere.
Yeah,
and you're right about Chat GPT. One thing they can't do is tell you about you.
Yeah,
it's only you've experienced you.
Exactly.
They can tell you like a superficial type of like kind of like, this is what I think of you based on this, but they're gonna be wrong, like the way they thought I was a man.
Yeah, exactly. God damn it, ChatGPT.
And no, ChatGPT, you proved our point. Like you're not human, you know. Like you are, you don't know as much. Only we know our experiences, our feelings, our soul. The stuff that we've been through. So yeah, that's where we can like get that out of us.
Yeah.
Through music, through our art, through podcasting.
Exactly. Yeah. And then that's a connection. That's like the human connection that I don't think that can replicate, or it's something extremely hard to replicate, at least up until now. Like you can't, even this podcast, like it's still an intimate conversation. When you're doing a show, it's something that people can actually physically see you and say like, hey, I have a connection because I'm here. There's an experience. And that experience carries on, for fucking years to come. But something as easy as just kind of like, you can listen to a song too and it kind of captures you. Of course it does, but
yeah,
it's like when you see, I don't know if you know Spanish rock, Caifanes.
Yes, I love Spanish rock.
Awesome. Well, I saw Caifanes, one of my favorite bands, in Vegas like 2 years ago.
Nice.
I went and we saw them in Vegas, and it was a pool, and they were playing on stage, and it was night. It was a summer. It was fucking beautiful. So far, no other concert has been able to top that experience, but it was because that experience, it was the people, the environment, and everything, right? And that's something that you cannot do with technology. Like you cannot, even when you're live streaming an event, like you can't capture, like the time that I saw you last week at the fucking what was it? Pumpgado slang.
Was it?
Oh yeah, the ranchito, yeah, for the slang. I was like, dude, this is fucking cool. I hadn't seen you play in a while.
Yeah.
And you were just like, vibing with the whole room. I was like, damn, that was sick.
Live performance is an experience that you can't get with AI.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it makes you cherish it more. Like when you're in those moments with other people, even if people are sometimes shitty with each other,
You're right.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, but
especially in the music industry, hip hop.
Nah, I bet. There's surprisingly in the podcast world, I happen to stay out of all the beef. There's apparently beef.
There's beef in podcasts?
There's apparently beef in podcasting.
Podcasters are beefing?
They're beefing.
That's terrible.
Yeah. It's hard. It sucks because, ultimately you think everybody should have a collective goal to create just conversation, build community, but not everybody's like, yeah, fuck these people. It's like, damn.
No way. There's other podcasters trying to beef with you.
Yeah. No, not with me. No.
Oh,
it's just amongst each other. I'm just looking out. Like, I'm just the monkey look outside. Like, what the fuck are these guys doing?
Are you serious?
But hey,
I wonder what the beef is about. Like, is it competition? It usually is competition.
Yeah.
I mean, in their head,
I would like to say so. I can't speak for anybody, so I don't want to be the beef starter right now. But you know, sometimes it is ego. Ego just gets in the way, and it just be like that. It's you gotta sometimes be the bigger person, I guess.
Yeah, I totally understand you. I totally 100% understand you.
Yeah.
Hip hop is very egotistical.
Yeah.
It's a very egotistical culture that I'm trying to not be a part of it.
Yeah.
And trying to understand that like I have bigger purpose. I do. I really, really do. Like I have to worry about like my nieces and nephews and how they perceive me. That's important for me. So I can't get involved with your issues because at the end of the day, like I can't let my nieces and nephews like listen to my lyrics because you got the best of me, or see my social media practices become negative because you got the best of me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's more important to me. But also my music, like I have, like I want to make good music, and I don't want any of your issues to seep into my music.
Yeah.
And and into my lyrics. So no, thank you. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, no, that's a good way to put it. I feel like at some point, maybe people see it when they're younger, but I didn't see the importance of just kind of being able to limit certain energies to keep them at bay, And at some point I feel like I was mature enough to understand that even if these people were part of my life for so long, if you know, it sounds sad, but if they don't serve any purpose to the point where they're just making you feel worse than better than they make you feel, like, I think it's sometimes easier for you to be like, you know what, this is unhealthy. I gotta,
absolutely,
you know, hey, let me keep doing my shit, but, you know, keep you at bay.
Absolutely.
And again, it might sound weird, rude to people, but, you know, I feel like a lot of other people can relate to that, because
I think everybody,
we all have
can relate
somebody
to that.
toxic in our life.
Absolutely. Whether it's our friends, our partner, family members, musical, colleague, whatever, coworker, whatever. I don't know.
Coworker?
You never know.
I've had a toxic coworker.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the best ones.
No, it's tough, but we have to keep that away.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised. Some people can't recognize toxicity, like from other, like whether it be a partner. And I see like for example, you know, your friends, they vent to you, and they can't recognize when a person is being toxic. Like, to them, it's just like, no, like, that's my friend. Like, you know, that's my boyfriend. Like, no way. Like, I love him. You know, or that's my girlfriend. Like, she's with me for 4 years, so I love her. You know. But it's like, okay, but they tell me things or whatever, they vent to me, and I'm just like, that doesn't seem right to me at all.
Yeah, that's a
like,
red flag right there, man.
But you know what I'm saying? But to them, it's like, no, like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I guess that's something that you have to realize for yourself.
Yeah.
All I can do is offer some advice, but you have to recognize that for yourself.
Yeah, that's been a big thing too. I've noticed that sometimes you can give people advice, but again, or people give you advice, and it's like, okay, I'll listen to it.
Can I apply this? Is this real? Can it be real? You know?
Yeah, or sometimes it just goes over people's head, and it's like, okay, I mean, but again, people learn based on their own individual experiences. So
that's exactly it. Yeah.
Unless you go through it, you know, you just let people go through. You're like, hey, vaya con Dios. You know, hopefully you come back good and you're solid.
But also, they don't know that it's toxic.
Oh, I mean, that's also true. Fuck.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes they know and they still stay because they're scared to, like, well, whatever. But sometimes they just can't recognize it. And I think the reason why they can't recognize it is because they've never experienced like the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you, like, for example, if you've had a really great job that treats you well, and then you have another job that is shitty, then you know what it feels like to be treated well. Okay. So because you know what it feels like to be treated well, you can recognize that this environment is toxic, because I know a non-toxic environment when I see one.
Okay.
I felt it before. You know what I'm saying? But there's people that have always experienced toxic environments. So they can't recognize it when it's toxic because they're used to it, you know? And that can go for relationships too. For coworkers, like we talked about, for colleagues that work with us in the arts, you know? You know, so that's another thing too. Like, you don't know what you don't know because you've never experienced it. And it's sad. It's really
that's sad. And that's where people come in. We're like, hey, no, I'm giving you advice because I've been through it. But you're like, nah, I don't want to listen to it anyway. You know?
No, it's fine. It's normal.
Yeah, exactly.
I always go through it. It's cool. But that doesn't mean it's good, you know? Like, yes, you've always gone through that, and I'm sorry. But it's never been good.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely toxic behaviors out there. And you see it, and you're like, dude, no,
like, how are you tolerating that?
Yeah. No, it's hard.
Yeah,
but that just goes to show that people are just fucking super complicated, that not everybody, you know, you like to think that people are, you see them and you're like, hey, Silvandgold looks, Eddie looks normal, but I can go out and start screaming randomly, like, because I'm angry. But
punching the air.
You know, and it's just stuff like that. But it's just really, it's weird. That's why it's weird when you approach people sometimes. Yeah. But always approach them with good intentions, I would say. You know?
But yeah, there's definitely toxicity in the hip hop underground scene for sure.
Check. Look. See, I'm my own worst enemy and my own savior, my own hype woman and my own toxic behaviors. Do me no favors, especially if you just keeping count. I cannot stand the ones that help so they could take me out. Messages turn delicate, topics of discussions turn irrelevant. They go in for the kill, say they love me and I'm everything but. I dodge death and run, duck the thirsty bums, lift myself up from my black and gray Jordan ones. I can't depend on none, the crew is small, no crowd allowed. Talking to myself in music vids, don't got nobody else, no extras, no click with a whip or vixen lessons to these out. I'm by myself, love, no fake bullets, index, middle thumb. No faking, step to me, I'll let you know just where I'm from. Never fake the funk, I write it smoothly with my tongue. Nappy sent the beat, I make the song go dumb. Cause in the end, it's up to me to carry out what I become. I'm not oblivious to God and the love he has for me, but to fulfill prophecy, I gotta save myself. I gotta save myself. I gotta save myself. I'm not oblivious to God and the love he has for me, but to fulfill prophecy, I gotta save myself. I gotta save myself. I gotta save myself. Excuse me while I move you to the side, because my future's up to me. My eyes are tired of crying, looking for a sign like Gideon, who's been shown but ain't believing it. I'm stuck inside my head. Am I stubborn or an idiot? So, like the day that I graduated from college, a stranger chasing after me to tell me I'd accomplish anything I set my mind to do. And yes, I was astonished, cause nothing really made sense why he felt he had to comment on my future. A prophet if I knew one, uncommon in the way he did it, but it really shook me to pursue more. So here I go, cause people speaking good things about you doesn't mean it actually gon' happen unless you do. Cause no one really cares, they're just led by sentiment to speak it at the moment, not knowing their effects. So what I'm left with, this moment of reflection. And could there be a possibility that I was born with some intention? Who you messing? Not me, seems like serendipity. I guess it's time to get up and to fulfill some prophecy. I'm not oblivious to God and the love he has for me, but to fulfill prophecy, I gotta save myself. I gotta save myself. I gotta save myself. I'm not oblivious to God and the love he has for me, but to fulfill prophecy, I gotta save myself.